Hello and welcome to, I don't know. And I'm Kevin and
I'm Sim.
beautiful.
I barely know that part.
So what are we talking about today?
What are we manifesting today? Oh, we're talking about
manifesting.
manifesting. It's this new thing. It's the hype. It's the new word on town in town. It's like the new topic everybody wants to talk about.
Really?
But nobody really knows.
Really?
Yeah, what it actually means. Yeah, it's a hot thing. Manifesting abundance. We all just manifesting abundance.
Yeah.
But like what?
What does abundance mean?
To me, I feel like I've been in abundance my whole life. Like abundance is just existing. It's a state. It's like it's like California. Like California is a state, so it's like a state where you just are. You're in a state of abundance where you just feel like the universe is full of an infinite amount of energy that it gives you as long as you're worthy of that and you feel like you're worthy of that.
Worthiness. So that's a key word, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me sort of start off. We're talking about manifestation, right?
Yep, always.
You know, it really became popular in 1996 when the movie The Secret came out. And it was really part of the impetus to really tell people, yeah, whatever you focus your attention on, I mean, really focus it and hold that level of attention, you'll create it, you'll get it.
Right.
And there's a lot of truth to that. And it was really kind of interesting when I saw it. I had started manifesting things about 10 years before that, and I'll share an example of that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time when I heard and I watched the movie The Secret, you know, they're saying, oh, yes, you just, you know, create whatever you want, hold that level of focus and intent.
Yep.
You know, it'll come, which was beautiful on one level, because what a lot of people did was they really created from their ego. Okay, this is what my ego wants.
Right.
I'll give you a perfect example. I was at the time working in a restaurant. This was out. I won't even go into that. But I was working in a restaurant for a friend of mine.
Okay.
And I'll never forget this guy. He goes, I know what I want. I saw the movie.
Okay.
And I was like, cool, what do you want? He goes, I want a Chrysler or whatever it was at that time. I want these particular wheels. And he was Hispanic and all this. I said, cool, great, beautiful.
Yeah.
Was one level of manifestation, okay?
Right.
Is what does my ego want? What do I want in the material world?
Yeah.
The other is, and the thing that I understood at that point was, it wasn't necessarily just the manifestation of the material from the mind. It was, what does the heart want? Remember what we talked about, being and doing? I'm a human being, not a human doer.
Right.
Again, it's not wrong, but it comes from a very different place in terms of manifestation.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Okay, what's the difference?
Like wanting from here and wanting from here?
Yeah, wanting from the head and wanting from the heart.
Yeah.
Is it either one of them bad? I don't want to take a look at it as bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think one is more life-giving, more fulfilling.
Right.
Okay, because you mentioned it in several of the podcasts we've done, is you had all the toys, you made all the money, you created all this stuff.
Yeah.
Or are you really happy?
No.
My point.
Okay, no, wait. I was just as happy before it, and I was just as happy during it, and I'm just as happy after it.
Oh, wait.
I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm going to challenge you on that.
Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't care less. When I was making $700 a month, I was in a state of bliss. Well, also because I was smoking a lot of weed. But you know, when I was making more, I was happy. But it's not like it took me to another level. And then once I gave it all up, there was a moment of like kind of relief and the release from all the kind of your stuff holding on to you and keeping you down as anchor. But even after that, just been happy all along. And that's what I realized. I realized I'm in a state of bliss all the time. So there is nothing else to chase.
Really? You're always in a state of bliss?
No, I mean, like, even pain is bliss. Even when I feel like shit,
well,
it's bliss.
okay, wait. Let's be a little more clear here.
Yeah, not bliss. It's not like jumping for joy all the time, okay? Even when I feel like shit, it's okay. But I mean, you know, it's all of it together. It's the whole experience has been great.
Is that because you now have some sense of perspective of what was?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It didn't feel great all the time. In the middle of it, I was like crying.
So you really weren't blissful all the time.
Well, sometimes I was crying in a corner, holding my head and stuff. Those are blissful tears, though.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yep.
But let me share a story. It was back then. It was probably it was 1997, I think it was. I'd moved to Sedona, Arizona. I had just left the corporate world. Had very little clue about what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll never forget, I was actually lying in bed, and I heard something in my head. Whatever you want, you can get. And I thought, is that really true? So what did I do? I literally had two things in my mind. And it wasn't just from the ego. That was part of it. The other part of it was I could really feel it in my heart. I could feel this sense of emotion connected to it.
Yeah.
And the two things that I wanted, well, actually, there were three things. I wanted $150,000.
Okay, that sounds very from the head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted a Harley Davidson Fat Boy, this blue color.
We're still in the head. Okay. Yeah.
And I wanted this woman that I could visualize. And I didn't want her to have a father. I didn't want to have all this family baggage and stuff. And I had particular requirements of what I wanted from her.
Oh, but this woman, you didn't even know a woman like this.
No, no clue.
Okay, cool.
What I did
Yeah.
was every night for 2 weeks I went to sleep. I literally held a picture from the Trader magazine of a fat boy, color blue.
Yeah.
I would also feel into that woman. I would just sense it and feel it. It was more about my heart. I wanted to connect. It wasn't so much my head. And the other was $150,000. I had no idea why it was $150,000. I couldn't tell you why.
Okay.
No clue. It was just a number that popped into my head.
Yeah.
Okay. So, within 2 weeks, and I'd left the corporate world, lost everything I'd owned. It was all taken away from me. Had no control over keeping it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm now driving Jeeps for Pink Jeeps in Sedona, Arizona.
Okay.
Actually, they're Ancient Expedition, doing the Native American tour, the indigenous peoples, and the cliff dwellings. And I had this woman get on my Jeep, and she was with her mother. And something happened. I mean, I'd had hundreds of people getting on Jeep, taking them out, showing the cliff dwellings, sharing the culture as we knew it. And it was interesting because about halfway through that trip, she smacked me on the back of my head. Something happened.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, I got to know this woman.
Yeah.
No, I had no clue why.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the trip. I enjoyed her mother. And they were the only two on the tour. Normally I have 7 people.
Okay.
So they get off. And she gets off the Jeep. And she kind of ignores me. Doesn't leave me a tip, doesn't say thank you. I'm thinking, wow, what the hell was that about?
Yeah.
Why did she smack me in the back of the head? Why am I feeling this? So I thought, okay, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
So I went back into the office, had finished the tour, dropped him off, and she was standing there with her mother. Her mother was seated. She was standing. Her back was towards me as I passed her, and I had a cold drink in my hand. So I just thought, what the hell, shits and giggles, I'm going to stick it between her legs. She had shorts on. So I did, and it was cold, and she turned around, looked at me, she said, I have to tell you something. I said, yeah, what? She said, it's not that I didn't want to tip you. I want to take you to dinner. And I didn't know how to ask you.
Okay.
So I thought, oh, okay, that makes sense. She goes, would you want to go to dinner? I said, sure, I'd love to.
Yeah.
So from that point on, we created a relationship. Went back and forth. I went from Sedona, Arizona to Houston, Texas. And we were getting pretty serious. And I was open to, at this point in my life, I was really happy being single. I did not want children.
Yeah.
I was happy monetarily. I had my place. Life was good.
Yeah. And it's difficult to bring somebody into your life at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that all shifted when she smacked me on the back of my head.
Oh, wow.
I then wanted a child. And for some reason in me, I wanted to marry her. And it's like, where's this coming from? I don't get it. But I just I really felt it. See, it's different. It wasn't my head. I was feeling it.
Yeah.
So I went back and forth to Houston for about 6-8 months. And within that time, she said, you know, there's something I have really wanted for a number of years.
Yep.
And I've never felt the right person to do it with.
Okay.
And I said, what is that? She goes, I want a Harley Davidson Fat Boy. And I said, you got to be kidding me. So what did we do? We went to the local Harley Davidson dealership in Flagstaff, Arizona, and we picked out that blue color, exactly what I had envisioned.
Yep.
Okay, that's the first piece.
Okay.
And this woman
Yeah.
was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
I only wanted a mother involved. I don't want a whole family. I want it to be simple, and it was this to a T.
Yeah.
So a little more time goes on, and she says, I want to share something else with you. She says, I need to share this with you. I said, sure, what? She says, I want you to come with me and go to the bank, and I want my personal banker to show you something. I said, no, I don't want to know how much money you have. I don't care how much money you have. I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah.
She said, no, I really feel this is important for me, that
Okay.
I want you to see this. I said, sure, okay, great. So I'm now in front of this personal banker,
Yeah.
and she looks at me and she says, show him how much I have in my checking account or in my investment account.
Yeah.
Guess what the dollar figure was?
Let me guess. $150,000.
To the penny.
Holy fuck.
3 things that I wanted.
Yeah.
Every night for 2 weeks, I went to sleep holding that, and I let it go. It wasn't that I kept going, oh my God, I got to have it. Oh my God, I got to have it.
Yeah. And also thinking how.
Yeah, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care about the how part.
Yeah.
All I did was I stayed in my heart, and it was sort of a prayer and a mantra, and I said, this is what I would really love from my heart. And I let it go. And within 2 weeks.
So what's the difference?
Manifestation? Yes.
So to that point, what's the difference between the person who just thinks about it? Is it the feeling part? Is it the fact that you felt it from your heart? Or is it the genuine nature of?
I think it's a combination. It was like that young man I had shared. He wanted this Chrysler LeBaron, whatever it was at the time. He wanted these particular wheels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was purely, I want this. I'm going to be cool in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he feel? I'm sure he did.
Okay.
Because that probably excited him.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, it was different. And I realized it when I was lying in bed. I could visualize it and see it, but it was more a feeling state. I really want this from my heart to really be a part of my life. And don't get me wrong, he was probably feeling that as well. It's a level, for me, it's a level of understanding.
Yeah.
It's a level of, I don't want to say evolutionary process, but it's a different level of bringing something into your life.
So do you know, like, kind of Joe Dispenza's kind of twist
no,
on that, where
very much so,
where he explains, like, there's the kind of energetic field,
and
absolutely. we're transmitting it from our heart to that field, and then feeling it and feeling in that state, and then bringing that timeline to us.
Yeah.
Right. And so, did you realize that when you did it, or were you okay?
Yeah, and that was the reason why when I saw the movie The Secret, it's like, oh man, these guys just missed the picture. They missed the boat.
Yeah, so a lot of people are like, that's the thing. They're like, secret, that's not the secret.
But then again, as time went on, I looked at it and I asked myself the question, did they really miss it? No. It's like everything else I've learned on the spiritual journey is everything layers on top of another. It's evolution.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
To go from here and to go from here, usually if we miss all that which is within the middle, we can't hold on to this.
Of course.
Okay, because it's not anchored.
Yep.
So I look at it now from that perspective that, was he really asking from his heart? Yes, but from a different vibration.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
And for me, when I also asked for it, it wasn't just for me. I said, if this is also for my highest good and for hers, and please bring it.
Okay.
So it was a very different sense. And the key is, and you said it, it is when we truly wrap our heart's energy around it. I do this a lot when I'm doing sound healings, and I tell people exactly that. You can hold your intention, your prayer affirmation from here, but I ask them to allow them to drop it down into their heart and feel it. Because I believe that's the state of evolution that we're in, it's the feeling state. They work together.
Yeah, of course.
Okay? But when it comes from the heart, my belief is, if I ask for something for the greatest good of all, and including me, then it brings that, as opposed to, I want another $1 trillion. Let's be another one of these billionaires who really don't give a shit about you and me.
Yeah, and you're coming from that energy of like, I want it for me, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then part of it's also that you don't even believe it.
Yeah.
A lot of it's that your brain's trying to say something, I want this, but your heart's not convinced that it is what you want, or it is something you even deserve. So as we were talking about it before, the worthiness part of it.
Big
a
time.
lot of times it's like, I want this, but then your heart's saying, but I don't feel worthy.
Is it your heart?
I don't know.
Or is it
Mr. Stupid.
subconscious and also the experiences you've had in your life.
Actually,
Because your heart never says no. Your heart always says,
open up.
let's take a look.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's your.
It's the head. It's the past experiences. It's the belief systems that
what
you've
you've been
had.
taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not worthy. Like, how can you
Bingo.
get this or get
what
that?
does the heart tell you?
Love.
Yeah. Open up.
Yep.
Expand.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Meet love, meet that energy, and create.
So is it that we're obviously everybody's manifesting at all times.
Sure.
We are. That's what we do in life. We're
Even
just
if you're not
manifesting.
doing anything, you are.
Exactly.
You're creating.
So when you're creating negative situations for yourself
Mm-hmm.
in repeating patterns,
Yeah.
does that mean the heart is still creating those patterns?
I don't necessarily believe it's the heart.
Okay.
I believe the heart is standing there waiting for you to get it, the lesson, to embrace you.
Otherwise, you just keep repeating the same
keep
mistakes.
repeating it. So we talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. People in a relationship and, they keep going, oh my God, I'm doing the same thing. Why am I having the same result?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you also feel like what I've really cued into is that the people who understand this art of manifestation,
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of mass control going on in getting people to manifest a world that may not be the best for them. People.
Who's the they?
I don't know, somebody out there. There's people who understand this game really well. But like, for example, okay, I'll give you a crypto analogy.
Yeah, give me
like in order to get convince people to give up their hard-earned money
Okay.
and manifest the fact that they're losing money. People are the kind of really smart, rich hedge funds and the guys who know how to play this game really well manipulate the market in a way so that it looks like you're losing money. For example, somebody puts in $1,000, it goes up, they get happy, and then the market's manipulated downward, so it looks like now you have $500 left.
So who's manipulating the markets are you talking about?
Like the we call them whales.
Okay, the whales. Absolutely. That's been going on in the stock market from the beginning.
Exactly, right? So so that's just a market analogy of it, that the market's manipulated in a way to make us feel as if we're losing money, which puts us into that belief state, holy shit, I am losing money, which then manifests the thing that we are losing money and we actually end up selling. And the same kind of thing happening in the world.
Yeah.
Where the powers that be control our ability to manifest to make sure we manifest what they would like us to manifest.
Absolutely. It's been that way from the beginning of humankind, I believe, that there is that 2%
Yep.
that is so powerful, they control and manipulate the masses. No question.
Yep.
I mean, that's 101. Yeah. But the people haven't really realized and awakened
Exactly.
that they have the power.
Exactly. We're the ones manifesting it.
Yeah.
So
if enough of these people, when you're talking about cryptos,
yeah.
whether you're talking about the stock market, you're talking hedge funds, you're talking about all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay. It's all primarily based upon what you believe is going to happen.
Yeah,
what you're told.
Psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. The other one is when you do the basics in financials, I mean, the way that a lot of people used to do it is you look at the fundamentals.
Right.
Management company, investment strategies, where are they going, what's the future, and they have a foundation, something that's tangible, sort of brick and mortar in a way.
Yeah.
Where when you look at cryptos, that's a whole nother market. That's almost like hedge funds. That's like really out there because is there really something tangible?
Not yet.
No.
For most of them, not yet.
So it's the belief, it's a psychological belief that cryptocurrencies will eventually be the way and form of trading.
Yep.
I don't want to say currency. It is a currency in a way because when you talk about fiat money, paper money, it's garbage.
It is.
Because governments can print it, the United States can print as much as they want.
It's not worth the paper that it's printed on.
Correct. It is based upon either the government, either the management, the foundational basis. Where crypto, that's a whole nother animal. That's like etheric right now.
Yeah, and so that's where, there's a lot of people that get tricked into playing the game of the paper money. We've all been convinced that this paper is innately valuable. When the only value is the fact that we trust it. So we're manifesting a world where this paper is the reason why people are willing to do willing to destroy the earth, willing to do many things which normally wouldn't be in our best interest. But it's all because we've been kind of taught, and I guess brought into a system where we should be doing everything for this paper, right? Whereas if we could all just manifest, and now we're starting to see this, where people have decided, no, I'm going to go manifest a different world, a different way of doing things, a different way of thinking. And I think as we wake up more and more people, and as the children start to understand this power of manifestation, that's my kind of really deep passion project, is help children understand, hey, you are God.
Yeah, that's where the real change will happen. It's in the children.
Yeah. So where do you see, like, what's something that somebody could do to get more in touch with their manifestation capabilities?
What can they do?
Yeah. What did you do?
What did I do? I just started doing it. I knew that I had the ability to bring things into my life.
How did you know?
I just did.
You just woke up one day and you're like, hey, I can just do this? You watched The Secret.
No. The Secret wasn't it. This was 1996 that I manifested this.
Okay.
Secret's 2006.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I was doing it 10 years before.
Before it was cool.
Yeah, for me it was, whatever. And, so I was doing it long before.
Yeah.
And if you really want to start manifesting, I think I shared in one of the podcasts that we did, is it could be a word, it could be a color, it could be a feeling, it could be something that directs you from a feeling state. Okay.
Okay. Wait. Explain that. Yeah. Explain that one. Like directs you from a feeling state.
Yeah. It's more of an intuitive connection. Okay. So, for instance, let's say you want to get into the crypto market. Obviously, there are particular companies that trend. Okay. They're hot. I mean, obviously, blockchain and or not blockchain. What's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin,
like
Ethereum.
Ethereum. These are all
Cardano,
the big. Cardano. Yeah, but Cardano's still down here.
Yeah. It's getting there. Okay.
Yeah, but the bigger ones are really being, again, controlled and manipulated. Even though people don't believe it, they are.
They're definitely.
Absolutely. Even though they're bazillion computers, they say, and it's trading second by nanosecond, or whatever.
Yeah.
To me, that's garbage.
Yeah, we just saw one of the biggest manipulation events. Watched it live, where the markets were dumped 60% overnight, and fear was filled into the markets.
Yeah. And that's the key. So manifestation is really about really tapping in. A lot of it has to do with a couple of things. One is mindfulness. Really come into yourself and really feel, not only just from the head. Feel it in your heart. What do you really want? What do you really want?
That's easier said than done.
Well, there's only one way to start, is to do it.
Because we're so out of touch with our heart. Just that idea of even like, hey, feel from your heart. I mean, we all feel it. Yeah. There's nobody who doesn't feel it.
Feel from your heart. Feel from your gut. That intuition, that inner voice, that inner feeling state. Listen to that. And don't get me wrong. If you're working with investments, make some smart, logical decisions based upon information. Of course. Makes sense.
On-chain analytics.
Okay. So the plug, that's one way. The other is, again, to really listen. What do I want in life?
Right.
What do I really want?
Yeah.
And it's okay if you want that new car with the wheels. Great. Enjoy it. But I believe there comes a time in most people's lives, or I don't even want to say most because I don't even know if that's accurate. Excuse me. Is that there eventually, my hope is you come here and you ask from that place. You ask from the heart, what is it for my highest good and for all? Not just for me and my bank account, me and my family, but for me and my community, me and my wherever I live, whatever country I'm in. And not only from there, how do we share that in the world? Because that's one of the things that I see when you talk about investments, and that is, how can we make the world a better place?
100%. And that completely shifts what you're actually doing.
And then abundance just runs everywhere.
Just manifests.
Absolutely. Why not manifest that? And that's the other thing that I realized from, and this was just the first thing I did from the Harley, the beautiful woman, and the money. I realized if this is really doable, which I now know it is, absolutely, why not create from that more beautiful place, more fuller place? Why
you
not?
can create anything out of
Why
all
not?
of it. Yeah.
And hear me when I say this, because I still believe there's every walk of life on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
From somebody that just wants to be stinking rich and wealthy and doesn't give a shit about people.
Okay. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But what my hope is that many more move towards that. Let's make this, I don't want to say utopian, eventually maybe, but let's take that next evolutionary step where we really care about one another.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that's been echoed by so many people, rich and wealthy and famous. They've all said, like, I wish everybody could become that, so they could realize that's not the point.
Yeah, but that's coming from somebody that's already got it.
That's already got it, but many of them have already also
And they
echoed,
realized.
and many of them also echoed the piece that where they gained the most amount of value was actually helping others.
Bingo. Yeah.
Once you start helping others, then it all becomes worth it.
Yeah.
The point of manifesting all that abundance is so that you can share it.
Absolutely.
You can bring kind of the tide up, which raises all ships.
I don't normally like to share things that just happened to me that are really very quiet and intimate, because I'm not looking for, oh, congratulations, you did a wonderful job. But there's a lady standing in front of me in the grocery store just yesterday. And I just kept feeling this sense of, my God, what am I doing? How am I not making a more beautiful place in the world? I was just, one of those moments, I just felt like, And this woman was standing in front of me in the line, and she asked the woman behind the counter, could you just get me a little piece of cake? Mm-hmm. And she had birthday candles. This is all this woman could afford. And she probably couldn't even afford that. And I said, what is that for? Whose birthday is that? She says, it's my 7-year-old daughter. And someone gave me this money so I could get her this piece of cake. And I said, let me buy that for her and for you. That's what I'm talking about, from the heart.
Nothing feels better.
And she was just like, oh my God, let me thank you. I said, no, people have done it for me. It felt right. It felt really good. And she couldn't hug me enough. And I just like, it's okay. Thank you. Go home and give her that piece of cake and take that money and buy her something else. And that was it. I was done. And the rest of the day, I just teared up half of the day. Thank you for allowing me that situation so that I can be of value in a way.
That is the secret to life.
Yeah.
Giving from a place of just wanting to improve the world and improve people's lives. It's something that fulfills you in a way nothing else fulfills you.
Yeah, it's treat another the way you want to be treated.
Because it is you.
Yeah, really is. And,
it is.
And all I could imagine when I was looking at those birthday candles and that little piece of cake was a 7-year-old girl.
Yeah, of course.
I can remember many of the birthdays I've had, and many of the people I know who have had them. They've had all this stuff, and they don't really care about it. Where this was so powerful for me to really just feel into that energy of love. And that was it. I didn't need any more. She goes, please come to my house. I live in... I said, no, it's okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And I said, thank you for accepting this.
Imagine the world that we would be living in if everybody just had even just a piece of that frequency.
They call it random acts of kindness.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So that's really how we follow our guidance system. And I listened to my heart. I saw what was happening. For the first few minutes, or first second or two, I'm just like, okay, she's got a birthday. And all of a sudden, boom, something happened.
Yeah. You just get like a message.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you buy that for her?
Yeah.
It's something so small, it's a token. And it made this woman's day, and I'm sure it made that little girl's day.
And it made your day.
Yeah, for
Everybody
me,
benefited from it.
I walked away, like I said, I was tearful half the day, and I just kept filled with gratitude.
It's insane, and there's there's people with more abundance or money or whatever you want to call it than they know what to do with, and they just actually don't know that that's the thing that will give them the most amount of joy.
Yeah,
you know, so like we're all here to be of service, and being of service has been looked at oftentimes as this thing of like, well, why would I do that? But it's like, why? Because you're in service to you.
Ultimately.
Yeah, because if you're God, everybody's God, and if you're in service to yourself, that's just the best way to do it.
And why not create a world from that place?
So do you also feel like being in that state is one of the reasons why you're given the kind of power to manifest in the first place?
What do you mean? Be a little bit. Say that again, so I understand.
So what I really realized is, and I've had the same experience where I've been able to manifest things just like clockwork.
Yeah.
And I've had experiences where so I'll explain that in a minute, but basically, do you think that because you're in that state of I want to share, I want to give, I want a level of purity. Now, I don't want to be like holier than thou, but there is a level of purity of the intention, and the intention is not a selfish one. It's coming from a place of wanting to increase the kind of value you can add to the world. Do you think that is one of the things that is important?
Oh yeah. If we don't have that as a human race at the basis or foundation, we're screwed.
But also, is it important to be able to manifest? Because there's a lot of people who
Why
don't
not?
have that.
Why not? We were sent. We were allowed to be in this beautiful planet, in this body, to experience life. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? And again, even like I said, even that young man who was manifesting a new Chrysler and wheels.
Yeah.
Great. Enjoy it.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Because he shared it with his family, I'm sure, and they had a great time. Whatever.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, take it to the next level, and to the next level, and to the next level. That's what I'm saying.
That makes a ton of sense.
Because I don't want to judge and say what he did was wrong.
There is no wrong.
Well, there's things that are life-giving. There are things that are not life-giving.
But I thought it was all love, Kevin.
It is ultimately, but we in our humanness, we can be destructive. We
Okay.
can be harmful.
Okay. Yeah.
It's also a part of us. And if anybody doesn't believe that's a part of it, it is not a part of us, they're sadly mistaken.
So we all have the capability to improve the world, but we also have the capability to destroy it.
Absolutely.
And then we
I
choose
choose,
what we want to manifest.
you bet, I choose to make it a better world, even if it's a small little event, buying a piece of cake and candles for
Amazing.
a 7-year-old girl.
Amazing. You want me to tell you about my manifestation?
Please.
It includes psychedelics.
Oh, no.
Come on, you guys. You should expect that by now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, but so I came to Bali, and I first of all wanted to just do some mushrooms, and I was like, great,
Sure.
they have them here somewhere. So we were supposed to go to an island. Long story short, we ended up finding them on the way, and we were
The mushrooms?
The mushrooms.
Okay.
Not even like we didn't find them on the way. A friend had them. and
Oh,
they just
okay. I
kinda
was going to
showed
say
up.
right on the ground, you kind of plucked
No,
them? or
yeah,
what?
I wish
Okay.
that would have been a better story. But we took them.
So somebody had them. Okay.
Somebody had them. Somebody had bags and bags of them. So first of all, manifested mushrooms, check. Okay. And we took them and we're sitting at a hotel and took way too many of them,
Okay.
unnecessary amounts of them. And I hear something. Like I start having conversations with something, and I start getting told that, hey, you've been sent here for a mission. I'm like, okay, what's the mission? They're like, there's something coming, and you have to make sure you help as many people as you can survive from that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm on mushrooms, so this is clearly just a trip. So thank you very much, but I'm basically talking to myself, okay? And they're like, no, you've been sent here with the power to manifest whatever you want. And I was like, what does that even mean? They're like, well, ask for something. I was like, right now? They're like, yeah, ask for something right now. So I was smoking cigarettes at the time, and my lighter had run out. And so I went, I need a lighter. And within 3 minutes, and we'd been there for 4 hours, and nobody had come by. Within 3 minutes, 3 girls walk up, and they're like, what are you guys doing? We're like, hanging out. I'm like, do you guys have a lighter? So she comes and lights my cigarette and leaves. So I just thought, coincidence, like, come on. Just a lighter, somebody came with a lighter. Okay, I'm not ready to believe this manifestation thing yet. So they said, ask for something again. So I pick up my water, and I finish my water, and I go, I need water. And before I could say "ter," the girl that I was with walks around the corner with 2 glasses of water and goes, Sim, do you need water? And I started to panic a little bit because I was like, this can't be, first of all, this can't be happening. There's no way I'm actually talking to something, some kind of energy or entity. And I'd ask so many questions, and they just said, like, yeah, we're what you can refer to as God or source or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so the water thing happened, and then I tested it 2 more times. I forgot what it was. And at that point, I started to really have a bit of a panic attack. Like, there's no way reality can work like this. And the probability of these things happening right when I ask them, there's no way that this can be happening. So I asked, I was like, can I please just go to sleep? This is too much for me to handle. And so I go and lay down in bed, and I'm now full on in panic mode. Like, this this can't be real. And so I'm trying to go to sleep. I can't. So then I just asked, I said, can you send the mother goddess to come hug me to sleep? Because they'd also told me that the female form is the mother goddess, the creator of the universe.
Sure.
And they'd showed me that the girl that was with me was a manifestation of the mother goddess. So I said, can you please send the mother goddess in to hug me to sleep? And the moment I finished that sentence, she knocked on the door, walked inside, and hugged me to sleep without even saying anything. So
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, and my reality has been completely shifted. And I'm just happy that I'm no longer on psychedelics.
Yeah.
As I'm eating breakfast, I hear the voices again. And they said, hey, that wasn't just mushrooms. This is reality. This is how it works. Please stop drinking and smoking and wasting your life away. Please go. Like, it's important. We need you to go do this because you've been sent here as a mission. Everything you want will be manifested. So what I had come to Bali with the mission I had come to Bali with was, I want to build communities that would help people wake up from this kind of slavery that's coming.
Yeah.
Help them.
Slavery that's already been here.
That's already been here, but like this is the kind of the final inning for me to be able to get them out.
Yeah.
And
This is the closing curtain.
this is it. And I'd come here wanting to build communities, basically where we grow food, pull out our own water, stay together, help people enliven and all that stuff. And every single piece, I'm going to shorten this whole thing, every single piece I needed in that. And I'm saying we needed land. And within 2 days, a guy calls us and he's like, I have a bunch of land.
Yeah.
We needed millions of dollars. A lady just leaves Australia and brings millions of dollars. And every single thing, down to developers and teams, just all showed up. And today I'm sitting here, and you've seen that community. A whole community just showed up out of the blue with all the resources, everything necessary. So it's that feeling of like, once you really feel it from the heart, there's nothing that you can't manifest.
So you now know the difference between the heart and the head.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And what you're describing is what is called the rainbow people, or the rainbow children.
Okay. Tell me
Okay.
more.
It was a prophecy that the indigenous peoples of North America have been sharing for many generations. There will come this time, which is now, that the rainbow children will create a new world. Okay. Exactly what you just described. Agriculture.
Yep.
Really taking care of one another. All of the resources will come together. It's been described generations ago, and it's in the process of happening. And you're part of that. And it really comes from that place, that higher knowing, that we're really here to love one another, to bring us all into our own fullness, each one of us.
Amazing.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the other thing, I'm going to ask you a question. What else did you learn when you heard those messages when you weren't on some hallucinogenic? What did you really understand? What did you learn?
Well, first of all, I understood it's me.
Okay.
It's me. It isn't something external. And I also understood I'd been like that since I was a child. I remember having these conversations.
Yeah.
And I remember it was something that I always knew was like, there's obviously the conversations I would have with me as a kid. We all have that internal dialogue. But then there was always this other thing that was indescribably somehow speaking to me and directing my actions in many ways.
Yeah.
And I would listen. I would constantly listen. Like, okay, if you're saying this is bad or I shouldn't do this, I won't do it. But I would just wonder, like,
Source?
Yeah, I was like, who is that?
Source.
Source, yeah.
Your
exactly.
connection to it. Say source, you call it God, you can call it whatever you want. Source itself gives us anything and everything we want. Everything is available. Anything you can create, anything you want to bring into the world, it's available.
Yeah.
The other thing that I hope you learn, and some people need some kind of hallucinogen or some kind of plant medicine to help them open that part of them. I believe that if you prepare the ground, you don't need it.
100%.
It happens on
100%.
its own. Just like you realized, that was the point I was trying to make, is that next morning you weren't on shrooms.
Yeah. And haven't needed them ever since.
But you still have that connection.
Yeah.
That's the key. That source, we called it the inner counselor. It is that aspect of creation that comes through us, as itself.
And is that what we've been looking at as God the whole time?
Source. Yeah, call it God, call it Allah, call it whatever you want. You know, it's one of the things I also understand. You know, I'm obviously Native American. I was Catholic. I studied Buddhism. I studied the Vedas with my teacher, Swami Buddhananda, for about 14 years. And I came to a realization, all of these paths have a purpose, okay? If you really deepen it, you really go within it and really, really go in it, okay? And it really comes back to that saying that I think I've shared before. It's a Native American understanding, is that all rivers lead to the same ocean.
Yep. 100%.
You can call it Buddhism, you can call it Catholicism, you can call it Hinduism. I don't care what you call
Just
it.
a different language, but talking about the same thing.
Enter it.
Yep.
Really allow it to move through you, because ultimately,
Yep.
if you really do that, source.
That's where you reach. That's the ocean.
Yeah, it's the ocean. It's beyond the ocean, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But-
the metaphorical ocean
Yeah.
that we all are linked to.
Exactly.
And that's been a concept that I was even, in Sikhism, we have this idea that there is the prime light. That's what's called God, which is called Paramatma, which means the prime soul or prime light.
Right.
And then we are kind of a small piece of that light. That we are, it's inside
Yeah,
us, and we are
absolutely.
representing, we're the physical manifestation of that
Absolutely.
light source.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. If source is manifesting and sending that out from itself,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
who is source? You are, he is, I am.
Yeah,
Everything that's created is.
everything is source.
Yeah.
It's okay, perfect. I was like, I hope my understanding of life is not wrong, because we are source. We are, this is, everything is source. An ant is source, plant is source, rocks are source, everything is source.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know,
And that's why we have to make sure we are taking care of all of it.
yeah, as much as we can through kindness, compassion, respect. It's like I talked about when we talk about reincarnation. If I know I'm coming back again,
Yeah,
do I want to be a schmuck in this lifetime?
hopefully not.
There's a beautiful joke. It's like, okay, yeah, wait, never mind.
No, just say it.
I was trying to think of the punchline.
Okay.
You know what happens when you talk a lot of shit during this life?
What?
You come back as toilet paper.
That makes perfect sense.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really about treat another the way you wish to be treated.
And so you're effectively manifesting the world that you would want for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Have you kind of met people who just naturally are in that state more? Is there some kind of inclination, or is that something that's developed?
It's happening. It's being developed. It's been around for a while. Even before me, and there were seers that people
Of
sort of
course.
saw this. Excuse me. But I also believe at this time in human history,
Mm-hmm.
there are different levels of evolution coming into the human body. We call them
Oh, really?
crystalline children, the rainbow children,
Okay.
the indigo children.
Yep.
And oftentimes you'll see them.
Mhm.
When you see a child, they just know all this stuff.
Yep.
And they look at you like, this is just normal, isn't it?
Well, am I a rainbow child?
Evolution.
Because I remember walking around as a child and looking at adults like, how do you guys not just get it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't really like putting labels to it. But yes, I believe what you just simply described.
Yeah.
The indigenous people have described it for many generations, that there will be a time in human history, the other like the Hopi
Yep.
in Arizona said, when Mother Earth is covered by a bird cage,
Mhm.
guess what they're doing with AI with all the satellites? They're turning it into a bird cage. This will happen.
Okay.
Okay? This
Okay.
is it. This is it.
And the rainbow children, or
Yeah,
whatever you want to
all-
call them, will come.
All part of it. And it's
And what will they do? They'll build a better world. They'll actually.
they're like what you just described.
Yep.
How do we have an equitable and fair way to share currency, whether it's cryptocurrency? How do we create and create with Mother the way that we plant, not by dumping Monsanto's crap all over the ground and the crops where they don't really yield more, they actually destroy.
Yeah.
They take all the nutrients from Mother Earth. So yeah, that's the difference. That's what's happening. And that's what you described. So yes, is it happening? No question in my mind.
Amazing. So we're manifesting that world that we've all been kind of waiting for.
Guess where you're manifesting it from?
The heart.
Bingo.
Amazing.
Doesn't mean
We're doing it.
And it doesn't mean you can't have wealth. It doesn't mean you can't have beautiful things. Doesn't mean that.
Yep. Yeah.
You hold them with a sense of sacredness that you don't own them.
Yep.
They've been given to you.
And they don't own you.
Bingo.
They don't own you. Like that.
Bingo.
The problem with the way we've been taught money and wealth is that it becomes the thing that runs your life.
You better believe it.
And then you use it to actually segregate yourself from people and others.
Yeah, and it's also a mindset, and I've seen it with many wealthy people. When is enough enough?
Right.
I've asked very close friends of mine, when is enough enough?
Yep.
Do you need another 20 million for what?
Yep.
What are you going to do with that when you're dead?
Exactly.
Your children and your child and your children and your wife have more than enough money to live in the manner that you've provided for them.
Yeah.
Why do you need more?
Yeah, and especially when somebody else could use it and
Absolutely.
you can help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I got a response from one of my friends. He said, well, I just want this really big fund for my family. It's like, really? Why? It's already big enough.
Yeah.
They don't have to do anything for the rest of their lives.
Yep. Your grandchildren won't have to.
Yeah,
do
and don't get me
anything.
wrong. It doesn't mean he hasn't done some good things in the world. He has.
Yeah.
But let's go beyond that. Let's go to that place. So how do we make this world
Yeah.
a better place? Not just my family.
So now, here's a touchy topic.
Sure.
Does that make this whole COVID situation a great thing? That we shut down that old world and the kind of we're slowing down the consumptive nature of humans in a way?
Yeah.
And this shock to the system was necessary for us to get to the point where we said, okay, we got to change something.
Absolutely. The only way that in human history that the human race has ever really made any drastic changes is either world war
Yeah.
or something absolutely catastrophic.
Like this.
Because most of us don't like change. Let's just admit it. Do you like changing?
No.
If you've got a groove and you feels good and da-da-da, but there's really could be a better way. Most people don't make that leap unless there's a level of pain that says, okay, I got to reach for something different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think with some time, with some perspective, and in hindsight, we'll look at this time as, okay, the same way that, World War II was this horrific time.
Yeah.
But it created a fundamental shift in the world that actually improved the lives of many people and improved the existence for a lot of people. It also led us to now this point where we've destroyed a lot of the world.
Yeah.
So now we need this shift to kind of go back a little bit. And obviously we're human, so we'll make a lot of mistakes along the way and a lot of people will get hurt.
Yeah.
But it's necessary for us to go through that pain to get to the other side where we're able to manifest that beautiful.
I'm going to share a little bit. 10 years ago, I was visited by what I call a council.
Okay.
Otherworldly, other place.
Is that the Galactic Council, they call it?
Correct.
Okay.
Galactic Federation of Light. And I was in front of the council, and I was in front of a particular avatar.
Mm-hmm.
He told me who I was, what was going to happen, and what was going to happen 2020.
Amazing.
And then I kind of ignored it. I blew it off. This was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 years ago, before I came to Bali, I was visited again. Said, it's time to go to Bali now. I was like, what? I have these beautiful house. I have this beautiful horses. I have a life to die for. I got to do this again? I ignored it.
Got to leave all of it.
I ignored it. And I had a horse fall on me and put me in bed for 3 months near death. And in that time that I laid in bed in severe pain, I couldn't get rid of it. Medication wouldn't get rid of it. I went to the ER at least a half a dozen times. They couldn't eradicate it. And what I learned is I meditated into the pain. What do you want? I can't get rid of you. Let me be a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Time to go to Bali. Okay?
Yeah, you don't listen the right way, we'll send you messages.
But when you said about COVID, we have known, indigenous cultures have known that this time was coming. It's called the purification. It's the clearing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a time of ending. It is believed to be the time of the new beginning.
Exactly.
the Kali Yuga.
Yep.
Also, all of this.
Yep.
So, yeah. Is it horrible? I personally believe, and this can be very controversial,
Yep.
but I believe most of what's happened to people today, it's not really COVID. Does it exist? Yes, we manufactured it.
Yeah.
I truly believe it.
100%,
I
yeah.
truly believe that.
Yep.
But what people are really dying from is influenza A and B, which has been around for a long time.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Doesn't mean that COVID, which they have created, aggravates it
Right.
and really accelerates those people with maladies
Yep.
that can kill them
Mhm.
because they don't have the immune system.
Yeah,
So
and, they're,
yes.
and they're in a state of fear that
Correct.
You know, they're worried about manifesting it, so they do.
So you look at it from that perspective. Is this a good thing, bad thing? It's painful because people are viewing it through the eyes that somehow this virus that's been manufactured, or if it were created by Mother Earth, which some people believe, is killing lots of people. When you really look at the numbers, they just shifted numbers from influenza A and B and turned them into COVID cases.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, flu took the year off this year.
I have friends who, somebody died in their family. They didn't have COVID.
Yeah.
In the hospital, so we're going to call it COVID.
Well, they only get like $40,000 every time they market it as
Yeah,
COVID.
but that's all. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into that. But
let's go deep into the
no, because
theories.
yeah, and I think most people have really made a decision what they believe.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no convincing anybody of anything these days.
But I believe it has a purpose. As what they told me in 1996 was, do not be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
This is all part of the process. It's all part of your evolution. And they said...
That's really hard to hear for
sure
a lot of people.
It was. And for me it was at the
Yeah.
time. It's like, oh my God, my heart would just... I'm like, really? But then it took me 10 some odd years to
Yeah.
really sit with that. And I came to the understanding, again, if there is source that is running all of this,
Mm-hmm.
it's learning about itself.
Yeah. And
Through us as us. We take it in that we're human-centric, that we're the most important thing there is in all of this. We're really not.
Yeah.
We're a tiny little speck.
We're almost an insignificant piece of... We are insignificant.
But
in
it
many
doesn't
ways.
mean that we don't feel and that we are human.
Of course, and looking from our kind of myopic perspective,
Mm-hmm.
it seems really bad, and it is from our
Sure, it can
understanding
be.
really bad.
Sure.
Losing a loved one or having one of those issues,
Yeah.
it's horrific. Nobody's
Yeah.
saying that it isn't like that. But in the bigger picture of things, when you zoom out and see
Yeah.
the plan of what's actually going on the long term, I think it will be something that will be viewed.
Yeah.
There will be positives that come out of it.
No
there will be negatives
question.
that come out of it for sure.
I think there'll be more positives
There will
because
be
you
more positives,
just
yeah.
described it. You just shared. Let's create agriculture. Let's create communities. Let's come back to our humanness. We weren't put here to have masks on to be 6 feet apart from each other.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
The human race, that's just crazy. Science has actually proven that one of the most powerful things we can do as a human being is to hug another human being.
Yeah.
And in 45 seconds, it releases those same chemicals, the endorphins, that love does.
Of course. Yeah.
So you think we're supposed to stand there and just look at somebody and say, "Hi, how you doing?" You can't see the facial expression. Absurdity.
And that's how you stay healthy. Like that's the healthiest thing you can do is actually, be
It's
in the
absurd.
sun, be in love, have community.
And don't hear me say,
Yeah.
don't ever wear a mask. Don't hear me say, don't ever get a vaccine. What I'm saying is wear a mask when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
If you're sick, great. Even if it's the flu, wear a mask so you don't infect other people,
Yeah.
so they don't get sick.
Great.
Vaccines. Am I anti-vax? No, absolutely I'm not anti. I'm anti, you give me something as though I'm a guinea pig to see if it works or not.
Yeah. You give me the first genetically modifying thing that we've ever given humans.
And it really comes down to an informed consent. If you ask me,
Yeah.
you give me the information, and I choose to take it. That's
Great.
different.
Great.
It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But for me to be a guinea pig, but then again, let's take one step back, and I'll end it with this. If that source is all of this, why is it doing this?
There's a reason.
I don't know. Is there?
It's all part of the plan. There's some kind of plan going on.
Something to think about, but
Yeah.
the only thing that I always go back to
Yeah.
in my humanness is love.
So you're telling me vaccines is love?
Well, if you look at it from a bigger picture,
It has to be. If everything is love, vaccines are love too.
if you look at it from the bigger picture, that what if those people who are taking it, somehow inside that was part of their journey and their course?
It has to be. I mean, it's definitely one of the possibilities that are part of our existence, and we take the choices that lead us to that.
Yeah.
So we're manifesting vaccines. That's the whole point of all this.
Well, hopefully we're manifesting now only those things that are proven and safe that helps mankind. And maybe this is part of the process. I don't know. All I know is I don't want to be an experimental guinea pig.
Neither do I. And you know what we'll do? We'll build a community where we grow our own food.
Exactly.
And go live in harmony and peace forever.
That was predicted generations ago.
And it was done.
Yeah, it's in the process of being.
Yeah, there's been many of these worlds and many of these kind of ups and downs that we've lived through as humans, and this is just another manifestation that we've been bringing to life.
Are we going to evolve and expand consciousness? Are we going to contract it?
Oh, we're expanding that shit.
Well, science has proven that
100%.
literally the universes are always ever growing.
Yeah, ever expanding.
You know,
Infinitely.
It was beautiful. When they sent the Hubble telescope out, or the Hubble spaceship, whatever it was, that goes out to take pictures of planets far, far away. I forget what year it was, maybe 6-8 years ago. They sent it into one of the biggest black holes. And what the understanding was, black holes was this big, huge density that sucks everything into it and destroys it.
Yeah.
Guess what they found when that Hubble telescope entered into that darkest hole? What do you think they found?
That it's actually expanding?
They actually saw billions of more universes.
Ha! So good.
So
inside of the dark nothingness is everything.
Yeah.
And now the same thing is being found in science and even mathematical kind of theory of science with Nassim Haramein and a bunch of different scientists that even within us is the infinity of the universe.
Yeah, but I want to take it back to one thing.
Yep.
How do we love and make this a better world?
Oh, that's easy. From the heart. We just love from the heart. It's simple. I mean, it's so simple that it's complicated.
It sounds simple.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the easiest thing to do is the hardest.
Well, for me, it's been such it's so natural. Like, it just is the state of being that it's difficult for me to explain to people, like, how do you love? It's like, just like from here, just resonate it or something. That I sound a little crazy whenever you try to explain
not
something.
At all.
That's how do you explain that to somebody? How do you explain how to love from the heart?
Treat someone else the way you wish to be treated.
It has to be more complicated than that.
No, it's not.
That's it.
It's not any more complicated.
Just treat the everyone and everything the way that you want to be treated.
Treat the others as though you would want to be treated.
As though they're you.
Yeah. And do you think you're going to do anything less for them that you would do less for you?
That's nice and simple.
It's simple. Many religions, oftentimes religions and those, they have the good and the bad, I believe.
Yep.
And there's a lot of good messaging coming from a lot of them.
And they all say, just love and treat everyone else.
Yeah, it's
great.
One of them.
Share whatever you can. And don't do bad things to people.
If you can't, if you do, make amends.
There we go, kids. That's how we're gonna close this off. The golden rule: do to everyone else as you would do to yourself, and manifest a more beautiful world.
Keeping in mind that if you believe in karma, if you believe you're coming back, what you do today, you're going to receive the opposite when you come back. You're going to be at the receiving end.
Amazing. In that case, I'm going to be in the receiving end of like hugs and like love and stuff, and it's going to be so awesome. But thank you so much for listening through this for us. I know I gained a lot of value. Hopefully you did as well. Much love for you. Much love for you.
Much love for you.
Thank you for being here.
Let's manifest a world that we're really proud of and we really love.
On it. We're on it.
Thank you.
Take care.